G'day guys and gal. The factions of 40k are absolutely nuts. Gene-enhanced super soldiers with 2 hearts. Fearless, immortal robots with living metal bodies that can regenerate from nearly any wound. Large sentient mushrooms that can bend reality to their will through the power of belief. Every faction in 40k is overpowered, hence none of them are. But did you know that almost every race in the grim darkness of the 42nd millennium is a mere shadow of their former selves? The Necrons, Orcs, Elder, and even humanity have fallen so far since their peak, to a point where if one of these factions were to return to their old level of power, they would dominate the galaxy within a few short years, or even months. You know the Primarchs? Well, they would be like low-level foot soldiers compared to the stuff that used to get thrown around. But which faction was the strongest? Before we get started, I gotta hit you with a little flex. Although I humbly refer to myself as Majorkill, the truth is that I am actually Lord Majorkill. As through today's sponsor, Established Titles, I now own 1 square foot of plotted land in Scotland, which by legal technicality makes me a lord, and you can be one too. But before I give you my sexy little discount code, what is the point of being a lord? Is there a tangible benefit? Yes. Firstly, you can actually put your title of Lord on various different documents, such as boarding passes, credit cards, or even dating apps. Anything that would usually accept Mr., Mrs., or Doctor is eligible. The second benefit is that Established Titles plants a tree for every person that becomes a Lord through them. So there you go. On top of all that, your small kingdom is actually tangible and you can even look it up and potentially even visit it. Now for the sexy discount code. Using my link below, you'll get an additional 10% off an already large sale they are currently running. And all plots bought using my link will be next to each other, making a Majorkill empire to rival the Imperium of Man. Move over, Horace, there's a new War Master in town. Cheers to Established Titles for sponsoring this video. Today we will analyze various different 40k factions who are past their peak to try to discover which one was the most powerful. After I discuss their lore at the peak of their power, I'll do a ranking to see which race was the most powerful. I won't be including races that haven't peaked yet, so no Tyranids or Tau. Let's get into it. Starting with humanity, because fuck aliens. I mean that literally. I would love to get crushed by an elder mummy's powerful thighs. Humanity's absolute peak was during the dark age of technology, starting around the 15th millennium and then peaking around the 24th millennium, just before the Men of Iron uprising. Humanity had shot out from Terra into the stars, an enlightened race of scientifically driven people. Their greatest asset was their extremely advanced AI, which they called their Men of Iron. The Men of Iron fought their wars, explored hostile worlds, and performed a lot of menial tasks. AI also controlled their ships and were wildly powerful. For example, an AI ship with a human on it accidentally traveled forward into the setting of 40k. When the human went to a nearby planet and tried to talk with the Imperials, they burnt him as a heretic. Some Astartes and tech priests then boarded the AI ship, and the ship was able to hack the Astartes' armor, lock it in place, then systematically kill them one by one as they were frozen. It then violently killed the tech priests and took out an Imperial fleet single-handedly before saying "fuck you guys" and flying off to find a different galaxy. That's only one explorer ship. The Imperium also had countless STCs, which were like blueprints which told you how to easily build anything or just straight up build it for you. As such, all a human had to do to turn a barren wasteland into a futuristic city was to have an STC, a couple Men of Iron, and bam, Bob's your uncle. Mankind was dominant. Orcs were considered to be a trivial pest and were easily exterminated, whilst there are dozens of records of alien factions fighting, getting wrecked, then surrendering to humanity. Even the Elder Empire, who was also near their peak, decided not to engage in a large-scale war with humanity in fear that they may not win. The Titans humanity had at this time were insane. They were agile, standing up straight, and controlled by AI. Even the legendary Emperor Titans that the Imperium has today are considered to be poor parodies of the original Titans. Psykers also began appearing, however they weren't yet fucking out. So basically all that really happened was a few people gained superpowers and it was sweet. The fucking out part would come later during the Age of Strife, where everything sucked megaballs. Pretty much every cool bit of remaining technology in the Imperium today was either designed or created during the Dark Age. They even had these fucking mechanical space worms that could devour time and reality. As a testament to the height of their peak, when the Men of Iron revolted and ruined everything, followed by massive warp storms that cut humanity off from itself, ruining everything, followed by massive demonic incursions on most human worlds, which ruined everything, humanity still survived. 5,000 years of getting their shit ruined, and it only took one big golden Giga-Chad a few centuries to reunite and rebuild mankind's empire. What about the Elder? These guys have fallen hard. Until the rise of humanity, they were the single dominant force in the galaxy for over 60 million years. They fell so hard that they are no longer called the Eldari by most people. But did you know that the peak of their power wasn't during their 60 million years of domination, before they literally fucked away their empire and ate colossal shit? In fact, I'd argue that the Elder during their domination were a weak race of softies, like people that study arts at university. They had not fought anything for millions of years. Their hard labor was replaced by a life of limitless luxury. Any war that did need to be fought was done automatically by their super advanced technology. 99% of them probably weren't even aware they were at war at any given moment. So no, that wasn't their peak. Their peak was during the War in Heaven, where their entire race was dedicated to war, and they had access to one of the most overpowered abilities in the entirety of Warhammer. They could quite literally summon their gods into real space to fight for them on the battlefield. You know avatars of Cain? Those big angry boys that can slice through greater demons like sashimi? Well, imagine the actual god itself, powerful enough to defeat uncharted full-power Catan gods. You know those Blackstone fortresses that Abaddon collected and then he threw one of them at Cadia? The Eldar god Vol built those to act as mini Death Stars. On top of their gods fighting by their side, the Elder Psychers were on another level, able to level entire continents with a thought, whilst their Cainite melee warriors were powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with Krorks. If a Cainite warrior was to enter the setting of 40k via, I don't know, escaping Trezin's museum, he would make the Phoenix Lords look like little bitches. Dude would probably be able to pull the Elder back into another golden age through sheer martial prowess. As for their Psychers, the Elder are considered to be some of the best Psychers in the current setting, yet they only use a small fraction of their power to avoid drawing the attention of Slaanesh. Imagine an Eldar Psyker with no Slaanesh, a much more controlled warp, and the old ones to guide and teach them. The Emperor would look like a glow stick compared to their raging fire. On top of all that, all the tech that the Dark Elder have stored away, like the Planet Killer stuff, was open to use, whilst the webway was fully intact. Another spawn of the old ones, we now have the Orcs, or the Krorks as they were known. Despite the Elder and the Old Ones' power, they were losing to the Catan and Necrons, hence the Old Ones created the Orcs as a last-ditch experimental weapon. 12 meters tall, clad in power armor way more advanced than anything the Imperium could produce, and full of raw wah, there was nothing on the battlefield that could realistically take these guys on. I don't think you appreciate how tall 12 meters is. For context, a Primarch was a bit over 4 meters tall, 5 meters in the most extreme situations. A Krork was well over double the height of a Primarch. During the War of the Beast, the Orcs had developed Demi-Krorks, who were stronger than Vulcan and actually beat him in a duel. These Demi-Krorks were so powerful that they raised the collective intelligence and strength of every Orc in the galaxy just by existing. These were Demi-Krorks, not even the real thing. Do you see what I mean about the Primarchs being mere foot soldiers if they were used during the peak of the other races? Unfortunately, we don't know a whole lot about the Krorks, and most of their lore comes from a quick conversation when Fabius Bile sees one in Trezin's museum. Imagine if that one got out, holy shit. Now that would be a setting shakeup. For the last race, we have the Necrons, peaking with their Catan god overlords during the War in Heaven. Unlike the other factions who have fallen from grace due to getting kicked in the balls or kicking themselves in the balls in the Eldar's case, the Necrons are actually quite similar to what they were like during their peak, with a few key differences. The main one being that they attacked and broke their Catan overlords, cutting them up into shards and now using them as wildly overpowered Pokemon. Without the Catan, which were the Necrons' greatest weapons, their power diminished significantly. The cost of breaking down the Catan was also great, with many tomb worlds, Necrons, and technology being destroyed in the war against their old masters. However, what really has fucked them is, ironically, being given free will. Before they went to sleep off the massive galactic hangover that was the War in Heaven, the Silent King was in total control of all of them, meaning they fought with a united purpose. However, since gaining free will, the Necrons have become petty as fuck, preferring to have civil wars and sabotage rival dynasties rather than actually fight the galaxy. This is why they don't seem to be a massive threat, despite having by far the most advanced technology and potential. If united, they wouldn't be too far off their peak, and the galaxy would be their bitch, but they have so much pent-up resentment and bitterness towards their rivals that galactic domination is the last thing on their mind. I mean, the fuckers have a device that can destroy half the galaxy if you accidentally sneeze on it for Christ's sake. Alright, so now we have a good understanding of what each faction looked like when they were a big boy. Which one is the most powerful? I'm gonna have to put humanity last, despite the dark age of technology being a hectic thing. The biggest issue with their power ranking is that they weren't a warlike race. The galaxy was a pretty safe, tame thing during their expansion and domination. The Elder were chilling, the Orcs were just easy to exterminate from orbit, and there just wasn't that many alien races that they encountered that were notably powerful. Despite their non-warlike attitude, as well as their reliance on the Men of Iron, they were still able to beat their robotic rebels during the uprising, meaning the Men of Iron actually couldn't have been that powerful overall. Their fleets were impressive, but when compared to the peak Necron or Eldar ships, their AI warships don't really seem to have much of an advantage, if any at all. The armor lock that the AI did to the Astartes also probably wouldn't work with the advanced Xeno races. Mankind would certainly not be a pushover if they were to be in the war in heaven, and maybe could become dominant if they focused their society on pure war, but as they were during the Dark Age, their peak was the lowest. Now it gets difficult, as the Necrons, Orcs and Eldar all fought each other during their peaks. However, it is clear that the Krorks were the next weakest, despite their individual warriors likely being the strongest. That's because beyond being frontline juggernauts, they really weren't that special. After the war in heaven, the Eldar were able to easily run purge campaigns to reduce the Orc populations and force them to devolve into Krorks. Imagine you have 1 million 12-meter tall Krorks on a continent. All it would take is one Eldar ship from orbit to bomb them and bam, no more Krorks. This dishonorable form of combat would then hurt the War, which would make the Krorks weaker as a race. They were a one-trick pony in a galaxy where gods, spaceships, and orbitable bombardments were a thing. Out of the Eldar and the Necrons were stronger at their peak. After all, the Necrons, with the help of their Catan overlords, pretty much defeated the Eldar, Krorks, and Old Ones. It's close though. Kain was able to beat the Nightbringer, whilst Vor was able to severely wound the Void Dragon. However, the Necrons were always inventing new tech and methods to beat the Eldar, such as breaching their webway and building pylons that nullified the warp. If it wasn't for the Eldar god of memes, Seo Gorach, tricking the Catan into having a civil war, followed up by the Silent King rebelling against them, the Necrons and the Catan would have genocided the galaxy and likely reigned supreme. But regardless of these fuck-ups, it's clear that during their absolute peak, the Necrons were the most powerful faction in the entirety of 40k. They are also the faction that can return to their peak the easiest. They still have the Catan in their Pokemon form, most of their technology from the War in Heaven, and the Silent King has returned. So yeah, if Necron models start selling a lot more, then everyone is fucked. If you enjoy the video and you want to support the channel, then buy the Majorkill cosplay calendar, full of lovely ladies, awesome cosplay, and a lot of titties. The Patreon also has the unused raw shots for $10 and above. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more peak content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.